All right, we're going to be pausing the Lucas Tracy beef right now because, and I think he can agree with this, we need to talk about Diego Lopes. This guy is phenomenal, and I know it. He beat Pat Sabatini, and, Pat Sabatini's a very small dude. But a lot of people are, for some reason, picking Pat Sabatini to win this. And I'm not the first person to come to this conclusion. I've heard several people, hundreds maybe, say that Diego Lopes is a featherweight Charles Oliveira. Never mind that Charles Oliveira fought at featherweight, but you get my point. This guy is literally just another version of that. What's different? But, he's younger now. He's 28, I believe, with that, but he beats Gavin Tucker and he beats Pat Sabatini. Both of them are not bad people. Gavin Tucker is kind of an underrated win. UFC record-wise does not look that good, but he's fought some pretty decent guys. I think he has a win over Billy Q, which is not a bad win to have. A bad loss to have, not even, but, to beat him, that's pretty good. Because I know Edson Barboza beat him, but other than that, he's just been pretty good in the UFC. But then he beats Pat Sabatini, who's only lost once in the UFC. I believe he's now 4-2 total in the UFC, and he just KOs him. Just flat out just KOs him first round, I think a little over a minute. Just this guy is phenomenal. Just Charles Oliveira-esque all the way, and I'm here for it. And I know there's a lot of people, I don't know anybody who's really no, this guy's overrated or any of that, because how? He loses the decision to Movsar Evloev and gives Movsar probably his toughest fight of his career, I believe, because he almost gets him in a ankle lock and just tries to rip it off of him. And I thought he was gonna full on rip it off with that, but somehow Movsar gets out of it and he just continues to beat him. But it was a very close fight, and it was on short notice. I don't think enough people are talking about that, and that's fucking crazy to me. And he comes back. This earlier this year, and he beats Gavin Tucker, and he submits him triangle armbar. I believe also first round, maybe a little over a minute, maybe a minute or two. I don't really remember, but it was just phenomenal. It was just great finish of that, and this guy is just, I can't stop singing this guy's praise. And he comes against Gavin Tucker, and for some reason people were like, Gavin Tucker 4-1 in the UFC. I think he's gonna win this. And I was like, I saw that, and I was like, this guy's, undersized. He could probably maybe cut down to bantamweight, if I'm being honest. He might need to, because he's very undersized. And we kind of saw that. I think that's a big part that we needed to, that people didn't understand, and I think some of us may be overestimating it, of this guy just finishes him. That's that size difference. And I didn't even realize it. Diego Lopes is giant. I know he's only 5'8". Oh my God, he fills his frame well, and he rehydrates crazy. Just the size difference was I can't be the only one who noticed that. I know I'm not, because that was just crazy, and he just KOs him. I think he got a performance bonus. I think he's now in his 3 UFC fights, he has gotten 3 of the night bonuses. He's gotten 2 performance of the night bonuses and 1 fight of the night bonus. All rightfully earned. That's about $150K that this man has earned in about 1 year, not including his purses that he gets. And this guy has so much potential. Just keep with this. And I know he's lost fights. I think he has 8 losses in his career. The dude's also only 28, and he's had a pretty decent regional scene of that. I was going through his Tapology because I was just curious, and I kind of forgot, because I wasn't a UFC fan when this guy was around, and he wasn't really that big of a deal in the fight game. But Hani Jason, who won one of the tough seasons, I don't remember which one, but I know he wore a Jason Voorhees mask, and he got KO'd by Jeremy Stevens and then punched a hole in a wall. I know that, and he has a win over him, so I'm like, small world, I guess, which is just kind of an interesting fact. But had a decent regional scene. I think he held it's Lux Fight League or something. I don't really know much about it. I know a couple guys have held that title, but he held the title, so long regional career of that, and he's now in the UFC. I know he fought in the Dana White Contender Series and lost. And that's going to happen with that. But I'm so glad this guy's in the UFC, because this guy is phenomenal. And I'm trying to think who he should fight next, because I saw MMA Guru was talking about him fighting Sadiq Youssef, and I never really thought about that. I would
love that fight because Sodiq Yusuff is coming off of a really, really good war against Edson Barboza. So that was about a month ago. So he's recovering from that. But my other thing is, I don't know how long, because I don't really know if Sodiq got any injuries from that fight, how damaged he was. I know it was a very grueling war of that fight, a lot of damage taken. So I don't know how long he needs to recover. Lopes took no damage whatsoever. And I think momentum will be his biggest asset. This guy needs to get back in there. Take maybe a month off, obviously, just recover. Spend some time with family. Maybe take December off because, that's Christmas. Not a lot of guys want to fight during December, especially because it's the season time. They want to be with their family, and I get that. Maybe come back in January. January, I think, would be good. You can be on the prelims of the Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis card. Just be good. A lot of eyes will be on that fight, and then you could fight someone like, if Sodiq wants to come back. If not, I think a matchup with Billy Q would not be bad, because Billy Q is coming off of a win. I saw that. I forgot who he beat, but he beat a guy, and that was a bit ago. So Billy Q is probably looking to get back in there. So a couple months off, we'll get back into training camp. Fight in January. Fight this guy. You beat Billy Q, rankings, or you just give him a guy in the rankings. Honestly. Dan Ige. I'd be fine with a Dan Ige fight. Honestly, I think he beats Dan Ige. No, sorry. I know he beats Dan Ige because, yes, Dan Ige isn't the worst fighter, but he's not that good because he's beating, I forgot who he even beat. I think he beat Gavin Tucker as well, who, as we said, Gavin Tucker is not the worst fighter in the world, but it's a guy outside the rankings, so I don't think was supposed to be fighting a guy in the top 15. And then he beats Nate Landwehr. He beats Nate Landwehr on short notice. And I'm like, it's just not the best wins. And then he loses decision to Bryce Mitchell, which not the worst fight ever. It was pretty back and forth, but Bryce Mitchell pretty much won that very clearly most of the time of that. And you got Diego Lopes, who is a finisher, and I think he submits him first round. I'm going to say that if he fights Dan Ige. I think Dan Ige would not be a horrible fight. I don't know if Dan Ige is injured or not, but that fight would be good. So, Billy Q, if the UFC are looking to, still kind of build him up because he's 2-1 in the UFC, but he's really good. 2-1, his UFC record and his record in MMA doesn't justify how good this guy is and how high everyone is on it. And rightfully so. Normally when you get this much just hype on one guy and he's like, what's his record? 2-1. It's like, I don't know, it's not the best of that, and you might be apprehensive or you might start to dislike the guy. No, this guy is really good, and I'm pretty sure he's the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach of Mackenzie Dern. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's the case with that. So this guy's just experienced. He's worked with top level fighters and all that. He's been fighting for quite some time. It's 23-8, I believe. But yeah, no, give him Billy Q if you're looking to give him another step up. Don't be giving him the Gavin Tuckers and Pat Sabatini's of the featherweight division. There's plenty of higher up featherweights that you could give him like that. Billy Q is the one that comes to my mind. If you want to give him Alexander Hernandez, I guess. Alexander Hernandez doesn't really prove anything if he beats him. It's oh yeah, you're another guy who beat him. And honestly, Alexander Hernandez should not be fighting at featherweight. He does not do good at featherweight. I believe he has a losing record at featherweight. So don't fight Alexander Hernandez. Fight Billy Q if you're still looking to fight someone outside the rankings. Fight Sodiq Yusuff if he's ready to turn around. Fight Dan Ige. I think Dan Ige would be a really good fight. And if it goes past the first round, that's exciting to me because I believe he's only gone to 2 decisions. Diego Lopes has. I don't really know for Dan Ige. I know he's gone to decisions before. Pretty sure he won against Nate Landwehr on short notice. But, if he goes past first round, which would actually kind of surprise me, then that's an interesting thing because you're oh, we get to see more of this guy. Because I want to see more of him because this guy keeps getting first-round finishes like that. And I was excited. I loved the ground fighting and jiu-jitsu and wrestling and the grappling in the Movsar Evloev fight. I want more of that because that's exciting grappling. And, I know everyone's going to be oh, you're casual. I'm yeah, well, I don't want, someone laying on each other. Trust me, Jailton Almeida versus Derek Lewis. I'm not going to watch that fight again. I appreciate the dominance and what he was able to do, but I'm not expecting to watch that fight again. It's just not a fight that excites me. It's just not one that's really going to excite me for that, and I'm just hoping they give him someone up the rankings more, closer to top 15 or in the top 15, because I'm like, I don't know, who else are you going to give this guy? It's one of those three, in my opinion. Obviously, you can give him someone else. If you want to do, I saw he was talking about he wants to fight Bryce Mitchell at some point in his career. That could be after his next fight. He'll be 3-1 in the UFC if he beats his next guy, which I think he will. He's just so talented, so skilled, and I'd be excited. I just don't know who's going to beat him right now with that, and I'm just excited for it because this guy is a huge prospect and all that. But that's kind of really all I wanted to say. Bye.